Hi everyone. Welcome back. Let's resume our Aeon topic where we left yesterday. So, this is the series, and this is the last series of this Aeon topic. The Imperial Army advanced along the Ottoman coast, occupying land with orange orchards and evergreen flora. So, let's see what this series holds for us. Let's start with the first basis. The Batum Botanical Garden, established in 1912, was conceived by Krasnov as having a broader appeal for the public. He wanted it to host not only exotic plants but also exotic human beings, to be an ethnographic exhibition or an exhibition park. In essence, Krasnov designed a human zoo of unique proportion, while the structure of the garden represents various subtropical parts of the globe, from Japan, Cayman, and Florida to Australia, New Zealand, and Chile. The garden sections were to be populated by these places' indigenous people, places within the real condition of the nature that nurtured them. Amid the palm trees and banana plants, human on display would feel at home and would serve visitors delicacies made of tropical fruit grown on the spot, sell handicrafts, and entertain their guests in many other ways. So, what this passage basically say that the Batum Botanical Garden, which is established in 1912, was conceived by the Krasnov as having a broader appeal for the public. He said this passage says that as he appealed the public because of him, the botanical garden established in 1912 for the public. He wanted it to host not only exotic plants but also exotic human beings to be an ethnographic exhibition or an exhibition park. So he just wanted to organize an exhibition to showcase the exotic plants, not just exotic plants, but the exotic human beings. And what mean by that? Let's see. In essence, Krasnov designed a human zoo of unique proportion which, while the structure of the garden represented the various subtropical parts of the globe from Japan, Cayman, Florida to Australia, New Zealand, and Chile, the garden section were to be populated by these places, indigenous peoples, places within the real condition of the nature that nurtured them. So it just created the whole exhibitions. It just wanted to present the different area like Japan, Cayman, Florida, Australia, New Zealand with the same atmospheric conditions so that people can feel the home there. Amid the palm trees and banana plants, humans on a display would feel at home and would serve visitor delicacy made of tropical fruit grown on the spot, sell handicrafts, and entertain their guests in many other ways. So he just wanted to present whatever the grown fruits which is grown in that particular area and handicrafts, and there are different other ways to entertain those delicacies. So, what is the title of this passage is? A botanical ethnographic exhibitions. And what we can take from here is that design a human zoo of unique proportion, the first, and the structure of the garden represent the various subtropical parts of the globe, and places within a real conditions of the nature that nurtured them. Humans on display would feel at home, would serve visitors delicacies made of tropical fruit grown on the spot and sell handicrafts and entertain their guests in many other ways. So let's moving toward the next species. Such a spectacle of tropicality and the race was likely inspired by what Nigel Raffles in his study Savages and Beasts. The British of modern Jew 2002 termed the Hazenbeck Revolution. Still a new way of exhibiting animals and people in their natural habitats, promoted by the zoo tycoons Carl Hagenbeck in the early 20th century. If implemented, Kransnov's daring creation would have been unparalleled in the history and the practice of human Jews in Europe. But his vision never materialized. The First World War halted the development of the garden, while the Kransnov died in the late 1940s. Unsure about what kind of a future awaited the fruit of his years long effort. So what this passage is saying that such a spectacle of the tropicality and the race was likely inspired by what Nigel Rothfels in his study Savage and the Beast British of the Modern Zoo 2002 termed the Hazenbeck Revolutions. So it's a book written by the Nigel Rothfels about Savage and Beast, which is a birth of the modern Zoo 2002 and which is termed as Hazenbeck Revolution. Still a new way of exhibiting animals and people in their natural habitats, promoted by the zoo tycoons Carl Hexenberg in the early 20th century. So it's a new way to exhibiting animals and people in their natural habitats. If implemented, Krasnov's daring creation would have been unparalleled in the history and the practice of human Jew in Europe, but his vision never materialized. That still his, if implemented, his daring creations, which is very few people can able to do that. That practice of human Jew, but still it's a vision which never materialized. Still this not you can't able to see this kind of a creation anywhere. Still it's not even that easily possible. The First World War halted the development of the garden while the Kransnov died in the late 1940s, unsure about what kind of future awaited the fruit of this years-long effort. So after the First World War the development of that garden is halted. Even after the death of Kransnovs, nobody know what is the future update for those gardens and those long fruits. So the title of this passage is Hazenbeck Revolution. And what is this? What we can take from here is that a new way of exhibiting animal and people in their natural habitat. And the Krasnov's daring creation would have been unparalleled in the history and the practice of the human zoo in Europe, but still the vision, his vision never materialized. So still it's not happened that we can take. So it's moving toward the second last passage, this video. Empire and practicality. To the South Caucasus, there was a room for excitements. The empire was expanding in Asia for one last time before its nearing end, and so did the Tsarist subtropics. In 1950, the Imperial Army advanced along the Ottoman coast, occupying new localities with orange orchards and evergreen flora. A correspondent of the official local newspaper excitedly wrote about the crossing of the border between the Batum region and the Russian-occupied Ottoman Legistan. One more step to the south, and we are in our new subtropical position. With the transfer of Anatolian terrorists into Russia, he noted, the dream of the poet of the Russian subtropic, the late Professor A.N. Krasnov, come true. The soil of this area is suitable not only for the growth of oranges and lemon, tea will grow perfectly here. Ended. Russian tea planters were quick to petition the officialdom with a request to start plantation in the new regions. State agronomists began analyzing which area of Anatolia were most suitable for this cause, suggesting that up to 16,000 hectares were available for prospective plantations. As the Russian Empire disintegrated and Turkey reclaimed its territories in a few years, the Turkish government brought the idea of tree plantation in Anatolia into fruitions and made it a reality in 1920s. So what this passage is saying that despite all the sorry Despite all the horror and anxiety that the Great War brought to the Russian Empire and particularly to the South Caucasus, there was a room for excitement. The empire was expanding in Asia for one last time before its nearly end, and so did the Ceres subtropical. Says that after all this horror, which is occurred after the World War, but still there is the room for excitement. It says that before before the empire is going to be an end, there is a last expansion of Asia. So what it says. In 1915, the Imperial Army advanced along the Ottoman coast, occupying new locality with orange orchards and evergreen flora. Like it says that in 1915, the Imperial Army occupied the locality with the orange which have orange orchards and evergreen flora. A correspondent of the official local newspaper excitedly wrote about the crossing of the border between the Batum region and the Russian-occupied Ottoman Legistan. One more step to the south, and we are in our new subtropical positions. So, local newspaper uh, excitedly written that imperial it says that the imperial army is just one step away to the south, to the new position of subtropical regions. With the transfer of Anatolian territories to Russia, he noted the dream of the poet of Russian subtropical, the late professor of Aeon, Krasnov come true. The soil of this area is suitable not only for the growth of oranges, lemon, tea will also grow perfectly here. He said that the dream of Krasnov's now come true because the soil of this region is not just only suitable for the oranges, lemons, but also for the teas. Indeed, Russian tea planters were quickly to petition the officialdom with a request to start a plantation in the new region. State agronomists began analyzing which area of the Anatolia were most suitable for this cause, suggesting that up to 16,000 hectares were available for prospective plantations. So it's this line suggested that now the Russian planters, tea planters, were quick to petition to request to start a plantation in the new regions, which is a 16,000 hectares, which is available for the tree plantations only. As a result, the empire disintegrated and the Turkey reclaimed its territory in a few years, and the Turkish government brought the idea to tree plantation in Anatolia into the fruitions and made it reality in 1920. So, after the Russian government gave the idea for the tree plantation, now the whole idea came true in 1920s. So the title of this whole passage is Possessions of Imperial Army after World War. And what we can take from here is that this line is important. One more step to the south, and we are in our new subtropical positions. And the dream of the poet of the Russian subtropic of late Professor N. Krasnov's come true. The soil area is suitable not only for growth of the oranges, lemons, and tree will perfectly grow here. Russian tea planters were quick to petition the officialdom with a request to start a plantation in the new region. 16,000 hectares were available for prospective plantations. Turkish government brought the idea of the tree plantation in Anatolia into the futuritions and made it a reality in 1920s. So let's moving toward the last passage of this Aeon topic. Yet another success at tea planting in Nevering. Persia was at least partially based on the Saris tropical experience. In 1901, Iran's tea pioneer Prince Mohammad Mirza visited the Chakwa estate and brought from there new knowledge about the method of tea cultivation and Saris specialists. His first tea plantation in Gilan came into being thanks to the Russian imperial expertise. Plant-based industries and transfer in South Caucasus come hard on the heels of those undertaken by Russia's imperial rivals and allies. Surprisingly, however, they also serve as model for more southern countries to follow. So this passage says that yet another success at the tree planting in the neighboring Persia was at least partially based on the tropical experience that another neighboring countries now experiencing the tropical plants. In 1901, Iran's tea pioneer Prince Mohammad Mirza visited the Chakpa estate and brought from there new knowledge about method of tree cultivations and cerist specialist. So he just visited Chakwa to just get more knowledge about tea cultivations and cerist specialist. His first tea plantation in Gilan came into being thanks to the Russian imperial's expertise. He just first cultivated tea in Gilan. Plant-based industry and transfers in South Caucasus came hard on heels of those undertaken by the Russian imperial rivals and allies. So it says that it's very hard to get the plant-based industries from the South Caucasus because now it is taken by the Russia's imperial rivals and allies. Surprisingly, however, they also serve as a model for some southern countries to follow. But they also serve that as a model. They also present those things for the trade. So, what we can take from here, what the title of this whole passage is Forced Tree Plantation in Iran. And what we can take from here is that Prince Mohammad Mirza, learning about the knowledge about the method of tea cultivation, the saddest specialist, forced tea plantation in Gilan, and the plant-based industry, and transferring South Caucasus came hard on heel of those undertaken by the Russian imperials, rivals, and allies. That's all for this particular Aeon topic. So I'm just closing the video here. Hope you guys like it. Have a great